Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today for our Aspects live stream for Shadows of the Galaxy. I'm your host, Xander Tabler. I'm joined today by two wonderful game designers, also wearing jean jackets.
Yeah. Jean Jacket Club.
Jean Jacket Club, go
this
get yours.
This was not intentional.
Mine was. Your twos were not.
We wore denim, and then you felt bad.
I did. I couldn't be the only one not wearing denim on stream. So here we are. But thank you all for joining us today. We're about to dive into all the aspects, what's new and what's coming for this new set, as well as showing off new cards, everyone's favorite. And so
new cards.
We have a lot of cards.
We have a lot of cards. Like this is
cards.
At least 2 cards.
I would say at minimum 2.
Yeah.
I heard a rumor that there was at least 10 cards.
I mean, people were talking about it. They said they only wanted like 4 to 5 or something like that. So I just cut half
So we just
of
cut
them.
half of them. Great. Sounds good.
But let's say before that this is officially the beginning of preview season. I know we've been teasing some different cards and art and different things so far throughout April, but now it's May.
Welcome
it's time
to
to
May.
Show some real cards. It's time to get into Shadows of the Galaxy in full swing. And so we're doing that today in a big way. Let's go ahead and start with this discussion, though. So what do you all want to start with? What new aspects, what version of the aspects are we seeing first?
You almost got me for a second. I was like, ooh, new aspects.
New aspects.
Okay.
Not new aspects, just new things for the aspects.
Let me just set some things straight. We're not changing what the aspects are in set 2. That's too early. Each set, there are certain themes that appear among the various aspects, and certain mechanics are divvied out among the aspects in not equivalent ways. But the aspects are not fundamentally changing in any way, in case there was ever any question about that.
We get new ways to explore what the aspects look like in Shadows of the Galaxy and how they can have like more of an underworldy theme.
Yeah. And this isn't on the outline, but there are fewer hero and villain cards in this set than there were in the last set, because I don't know if you know this about the Underworld, but it's a lot of shades of gray over there.
And that's specifically like hero and villain that are by themselves or combined with other aspects?
By themselves.
By themselves, okay. So it's just heroic
there
or
are
just
fewer. There are fewer just hero cards and fewer just villain cards in set 2 compared to set 1.
I did not know that. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
fun fact.
Huh.
Learn something new
That's
every
not always
day.
true, but for this set, it is. So there are a bunch of mechanics in the set. Let's talk about them, shall we?
Yeah.
First of all, grit is a mechanic that's in the set. It's not only in the set, because we've seen it before in set 1, but grit was originally slated to premiere in this set. And it wasn't until mid-development that we were like, actually, this would be really useful in set 1. So while grit is not new to this set, you'll find a lot of cards that are intentionally designed to synergize with it, including more than 1 leader.
This is true. More cards that synergize with it, more cards with grit.
More cards with it, yeah.
And more cards with grit at lower rarities, so that when you're looking at draft archetypes in limited play, lower power level stuff, you're still going to have lots of ways to trick higher power onto your units.
Yeah.
So you're saying that Grand Inquisitor deck is going to get real good with set 2?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
I'm
good.
saying that.
That's all I was here for.
What if I told you the Grand Inquisitor deck gets way cooler every set?
Oh
as it
gosh,
does?
that's so good.
It's
That's
the best, yeah.
I'm not biased.
Not biased. Yeah, I'm biased for sure.
But they're not the only thing. So as you would expect, grit appears primarily in blue and red, the 2 colors that have grit. But they're not the only things that blue and red are up to in this set. We've already seen Bo-Katan, and we've already seen Follower of the Way. That might point you in a direction to think that Mandalorians, as a faction, are blue and red. And you're right, they are in this set. Blue Mandalorians like to be upgraded. Red Mandalorians just like to hit stuff. They also like to be upgraded, fun fact, because being upgraded is the Mandalorian mechanical theme of the set.
It is both as full of a theme, maybe if not more so, maybe than grit even.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
so
absolutely.
many cards that explicitly are calling out upgraded, looking to distribute upgrades to units that otherwise wouldn't be able to have them via shielded. There's lots of ways to upgrade things, and keeping in mind those token upgrades is really important when thinking about this. This doesn't just mean playing upgrades in your deck, giving lightsabers to Mandalorians and whatnot. It also means just shields and XP.
Yeah. And in case there was ever any question, there are villainous Mandalorians in the set, which means this mechanical theme will appear on both the hero and villain sides of the spectrum.
Right.
Well, before we go past Mandalorians, we didn't really show off a card for grit or to show off anything that that's just blue
I'm so excited to talk about mechanics and theory.
I know,
I
let's-
didn't
We
even
can
talk
do them
about
rapid fire.
cards.
Yeah, we got to talk about the cards. So let's go back and let's show off First Light.
So this is one of our LOL. This is one of our flagship grit cards for the set.
I forgot we were doing this. We were like, whoa.
Yeah.
Let's point out a few things. First of all, big spaceship with grit, it punch hard. Also, gives everything else grit. If you wanted to grit while you grit, now you can grit.
Oh, so much grit.
Very important. I'm going to answer this question now because I know the internet's going to ask it, and then in a week they're going to ask it again, and we're going to keep asking it. So the smuggle cost, you can smuggle it out for the same as the regular cost, but also you need to deal 4 damage to a unit. You cannot deal the damage to itself because it's not in play when you're paying the costs. You do need to damage something else before you can get the First Light into play.
First Light's super exciting. We have talked before. Y'all have talked in whispers about we know what happens when you make the cards that give everything grit to me. I'm like, show me.
I may have put friendly units gain grit on more than one card over the last few years.
Grit's lab. I like
Grit's
grit.
great.
That's cool.
Grit's great.
All right. Well, we have another card that we want to show off for Vigilance as well, which is Gentle Giants.
Yeah.
Let's go
Speaking
ahead
of
and throw that one up there.
Speaking of grit, here's some more grit. This unit does grit things in a similar way to. It does the grit thing, but in a new way. It also gets power and it also heals damage.
Wow.
Based on how much damage he's taken. You'll notice a couple things. One, it's a Wookiee. That's a feature. You'll see more than one Wookiee in this set, and having grit or being grit adjacent will be consistent on all your Wookiees with grit. There might even be more than one card in the set that says Wookiees matter on them.
So, I was like, if they're lucky, they might even get a thing that says, if you have a Wookiee, do it.
Do a thing, do a thing.
I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
Love Wookiees.
People, and I mostly mean us, wanted Wookiees in the game pretty quickly as a thing that you could build your deck around. So we're like, yeah, let's do it.
That's sweet.
Goes with the grit theme.
Yeah. Well, now we are caught up on that stuff, so let's get into the Mandalorians. So show off a card for Mandalorians. What one do we have next? We have Follower of the Way.
Follower of the Way, I believe we've shown this off already.
We have shown this one off. Yep.
This is your simple blue Mandalorian common who does the Mandalorian thing with one line of text.
Yes.
Yep. You put it into play, and then you give it an upgrade, and it's better. Good job. You
Perfect
did it.
card.
This can become a 2/2/4, which we learned a lot as a sneak peek 4 is a stat line that can be really useful when going up against aggro matchups because you can 2-for-1 with those cards.
Yeah.
So especially if you can put a shield on this.
Oh, yeah.
And
I've seen people talking about starting with Follower of the Way and then putting Protector on it.
Right.
So on turn 2, you have a 3/5 Sentinel.
Oh,
Deal with
gosh.
that.
Really
Deal with that, Emperor's Royal Guard.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's not the only Mandalorian one because we want to show off something new as well. So let's go ahead and throw up Clan Challengers.
So I did say that there would be Mandalorians in red, and here you go. They also care about being upgraded. They're just in a different way. This is one of your classic draft finishers. You get to resource 5, and then you have this giant raid 3 punch them until they lose the game.
Yeah, that's just good.
Yeah.
What else is there to say about that one? Yeah.
Big raid number is also really fun, especially in limited environments. This game really excels when combat math is on the table.
MJ and I conspicuously really, really like raid a lot as a mechanic, and we keep putting it on cards.
There's a running bit where as we're facing things, I'll be like, what if we put
raid on
this?
it? Can we just put raid just for fun?
Gosh. Well, that's not the only one though. So
Yeah.
let's show off a unique Mandalorian though here next.
And this one is unusual because she does say the word upgrade on her, but she doesn't necessarily say the word upgrade myself on her. So let's show off Ketsu Anyo. This is a Mandalorian, a former Mandalorian who works for the Black Sun. She is a bounty hunter. She is a friend of Sabine's. And she defeats upgrades rather than wanting to be upgrades herself.
Gosh, that's cool.
I need to know, is that intentional? Because Ketsu is no longer...
Yes.
That's wonderful. Mandalorians want upgrades. Ketsu...
So Ketsu says, take him away.
Get him out of here.
No upgrades for me, please.
Yeah, she. We wanted some. Considering upgrade matters is such a theme for the set in general. We wanted some pretty regular answers to them.
Right.
And Ketsu provides an interesting challenge of she's a good aggro unit. She deals with upgrades, but she only has 2 health, so she goes down pretty quick if your opponent wants her to go down.
Fair. Well, before we move into the next part of this, we had a couple questions in the chat. So the first one that we had was, what happens when the smuggle cost is a different aspect? Is the card still red, for example, Fighters for Freedom, or is it
I believe so, yeah.
the new one?
The smuggle cost does not change the color of the card for the
Okay.
purposes of Fighters for Freedom. If you have a red upgrade with a yellow smuggle cost, and you put it in your yellow deck, it's still a red card. You just don't have to worry about the red aspect because you're not paying that cost. You're paying a different cost that has a yellow aspect attached to it.
Okay, interesting. We also had a question, and I see this coming up a little bit in the chat now, which is, does the power level of set 1 still match the power level of set 2? Are people going to be able to use their cards? Does it feel good to still play with some set 1 decks, maybe throwing in a couple commons from set 2, things like that? Like, are you still able to compete? People are, genuinely worried about, like, oh gosh, did I get these cards and build this deck and now it's completely obsolete? Or do you feel, as you're going between the two sets, that it still can compete with them?
The power level across our game is we try to keep it fairly flat in such a way that cards across each set are all going to be able to look back at each other as reference points. We don't want to do that like 100% of the time because that can be restraining or not context dependent. But like there are some very strong staples in set 2 that will continue to see play for a long time. And a lot of you already know there's also a lot of really strong staples in set 1
Yeah,
that
I
will
was
see
gonna
play
say.
for a long
Yeah.
time. Great decks will have a lot of set 1 and set 2 cards. If the way our internal meta went, that is, it will be true that both these sets are, I would say, probably equally significant to the shape of what like our internal tier 1 decks looked like by the end of set 2's development.
I think that our internal decks are skewed more in the set 1 cards direction because the set 1 cards are more obviously strong. The set 2 cards have a higher potential, but it's less obvious how to get there because of how weird how weird it is to evaluate a card where it has this smuggle cost that gets you card advantage when you use it, but also it's kind of overcosted, so you have to make a judgment call of when to smuggle it and when to not smuggle it. And you have these bounty cards that are noticeably overstated because they have this bounty attached to them, but if they get defeated, then you lose a lot of the value, a lot of the advantage you just had. So the set 2 cards, I think in the grand scheme of things, the power level of sets 1 and 2 are the same.
Right.
It's just that set 1 is more obviously, it's more obvious how the set 1 cards are strong. And the set 2 cards, I think, will increase in strength metagame-wise as people figure out how to use them.
I was just about to say, I think the skill ceiling goes up.
Yeah.
With set 2.
Very
For
cool.
sure, for sure.
Awesome. Thank you both for answering that. So let's go on and talk about one of the new mechanics, bounties.
Bounties, everybody got some.
I love bounty.
They're so cool.
Bounties,
great. It's
bounties
super
your
fun.
favorite mechanic in the set, I think.
Yeah. I think we already showed the yellow villain bounty unit. Yes.
Dr. Evazan?
Yes.
Yes, we
Well,
did. We sure
I
did.
like how you just said it and you're
The
like,
bad
maybe
doctor.
Want to be safe.
The bad doctor.
Can't let Dr. Evazan out of the closet if he's not already been revealed.
Yeah, he's there.
Cards like that are so exciting and fun to play around and think about, and even just to include in a deck, because you're already starting to risk and look for the highest highs that your deck can go and start thinking about ways to avoid those low lows.
And I like bounty particularly because it changes your combat math evaluation of the board of like, oh yes, normally I attack the base because I'm an aggro deck and I don't do their units unless I absolutely have to, or vice versa. And now they put this Dr. Evazan out and I'm like, oh, well, if I like attacked him a couple times and defeated him, I could have another turn because I ready all my resources. This is kind of a tempting, I don't know, should I be doing it or not?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. As for who gets it, all the colors get bounties. In fact, we have a cycle of 1-cost bounties that are all going to look the same. They are split between hero and villain and the 4 colors. We've shown off one. Let's show off another one. Give me the
do
Clone Deserter.
Clone Deserter.
He's a 1-cost clone, and he left, He's no longer part. He's no longer part of the Republic because the Republic don't exist anymore.
His
but
phone's on silent.
yeah.
Palpatine keeps calling. It's not... this card's so awesome. I love this card.
2-3 restore 1 for 1.
For 1.
Feels
Yeah.
pretty good. Yeah.
But your opponent gets a whole card if they defeat it.
That's true. But that feels pretty good, though. In my opinion, I'm like, yeah, you can have that card. I'm
I
hopefully
put
getting a
this
lot
guy
out
in
of
all
this.
sorts of decks.
Yeah.
He's great.
It's complicated a little bit by like thinking about archetype matchups and stuff, where this is a good stabilization using restore and stuff, but giving a card to a control deck, potentially your worst matchup if you're curving out too much, is really, really bad.
We've now seen 2 of them. There are 2 other ones that you can look forward to that are 1 cost. 1 cost. They're both villainous, in fact. 1 cost villainous units that have bounty draw a card on them, and the other 2 colors. So you can look forward. You can start speculating now, internet. I see you. I see you over there, speculating.
They're just going to think everything's a Wookiee now that we said that
Good.
Wookiee matters.
Wookiee matters.
Well, joke's on them. The whole set's Wookiees. We said
Wookiees all the way down.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
Wookiees?
said this was Shadows of the Galaxy. No, this is Wookiees.
Wookiees of the Galaxy.
Wookiees of the Galaxy.
Oh,
yeah.
gosh.
Anyways.
Oh, man.
Speaking of bounties, there are also bounty hunters in this set. Turns out, when you have a lot of bounties, you have a lot of people to hunt them. And some colors interact with hunting bounties more so than others. As you might expect, red really, really likes your opponent's units to have bounties on them so that red can go collect on those bounties. And we have an example right here.
That was pretty good, actually. It did match up on the little screen.
Almost. So there are a handful of red cards that punish your opponents for having bounties on their units. Obviously, in draft, that will just happen incidentally. In constructed, you can play upgrades that give your opponent bounties. There are also a few green cards that do it for reasons that you can speculate about that I won't tell you. But yeah, so there are bounty hunters in red and some in green. There are bounty hunters in all the colors, but red is the color that cares the most about the actual bounty mechanic.
Bounty matters.
Bounty matters, you might say, yes.
Just having ambiently bounties given to enemies. Red also has a cool little self-discard package, which y'all get to see later. I won't say anything else about it, but there's like some more smaller themes going through these colors, and it'll be fun to see if people can kind of spot them all and see how they work together.
I'll give him one other thing, which is that it's centered around the rare red, one of the rare red leaders, and so every once in a while we like to put in a rare leader with a cool deck archetype, and then we sprinkle some cards in as a little package around them. So in this case, it's discarding cards from your own hand for value. It'll be fun. It is fun. It's already fun. In the past, to me.
It must be fun.
For me, it was fun a year and a half ago, and for them, it'll be fun in 3 months.
Yeah, and then it'll be fun for us to go out there with them and play more in a couple months.
Exactly.
2 months, though, right?
I don't know.
Like 2 and some.
I'm not keeping track of time.
Yeah, that's my job.
Welcome to
That's your job.
Welcome
That's
to
my
math stream.
Yeah, this is the math stream. We're going to do week by week updates here. So let's go ahead and, let's maybe show off another card. Is that next one a good one to show off now?
Yeah. In fact, I forgot it was on the list.
Even better.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's show off the
Hunter.
reputable hunter. I said green get it. This is what it looks like when green cares about your opponent having bounties.
I always forget this card exists, and then I'm making a bounty deck. I'm like, I get really excited scrolling through the green cards.
You want a 2-cost 3/4? This is how you get a 2-cost 3/4.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Before we go on to the next thing, just going to ask, so can a bounty be collected multiple times? Like if captured, then released, then captured again, for example?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
You can just keep...
Anytime you capture or defeat a unit, you get its bounties. If you capture it and they rescue it, and you capture it and they rescue it, and you capture it and they rescue it, we can keep playing this game.
Yeah.
So with just the gasp emoji in chat. I'm so excited about that. Hunter.
You were saying like if I just kept using like spare the target over and over and they just keep replaying it.
That would also do it, yes.
Yeah, I was just like, got it. Cool, great.
Yeah.
Keep
I want to
playing.
draw a card. I want to draw another card.
I like
now I want to draw another card.
Of like sparing the target over and over. It's like we've hired you 4 times.
Yeah, I just
to blast this person. Like, what are you doing?
Bring him in, dead or alive. Okay, alive, and now I'm going to help him escape so I can capture him again.
It's good money.
It's good money.
We have a good question here. I believe upgrades go away when captured.
Yes. When unit. So let's talk about capture, shall we?
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about capture.
When a unit is captured, all of its counters and upgrades fall off. When it is rescued, it comes back as a fresh unit. It has none of its old things on it, including all the damage. But you don't get to trigger its when played abilities because it's not played. It's rescued. Right. A lot of the things we've been talking about have been red and blue. So let's talk about green and yellow. Green and yellow are the capture colors. Yellow sees it as a temporary way to delay your opponent. Capture and bounce are very close in how they play, and so yellow doing one also does the other. And green is reliant on its units, which means that a unit-based form of removal is totally part of of green's color pie. So green and yellow are going to be the ones doing the most of the capturing. In fact, exclusively all of the capturing.
We can probably show the next card if we wanted to, because it's the cleanest example.
It's a green capture card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is the most capture thing.
Take captive.
Take Captive, featuring everyone's favorite Obi-Wan is going to learn the truth 4 years ahead of schedule. This is it. A friendly unit captures an enemy unit in the same arena. It costs 3. Your 1-drop can capture their 8-drop. That's fine. But you have to then keep the 1-drop alive if you want to keep the 10-drop off the table or whatever.
And you can't intentionally release someone you've captured, right? That unit has to be defeated, or you have to play another card that's like rescue a unit type deal.
Yeah.
Yes.
The only way to rescue cards is with a card effect, or more likely to make the unit that is guarding it go away.
Makes sense? So bouncing it, defeating it, whatever you need to do.
Hypothetically, if an ability were to do that, it would do so, but we'd rather not introduce like more high-level verbs to the game.
Yeah.
Well, and also like the game is fast enough already that
Right. Yeah.
you don't need you can just attack their unit directly.
It's a
if
thing
you
that's
want.
really notable about capture in this game system is that the fact that Star Wars Unlimited is a fast game means that things with good tempo are maybe better than they might be in other TCGs. And so a thing that is maybe temporarily keeping something away for a short amount of time, that short amount of time is eons in Star Wars Unlimited time.
I'll tell a fun design story that, which is that earlier in design, capture.deck, a deck where capturing everything was the primary strategy, was something we had in the card pool as like hey, it's the new mechanic. What if you want to build around the new mechanic? And boy, was it miserable to play against. So much so that we dialed back the volume and payoffs for capture, so that now you're encouraged to use it as a tool and not use it as the centerpiece of your deck.
That is fair. So we got some questions about capture, though.
Yeah.
First one I have: what happens if I capture your unit that has captured my unit?
Well, my unit that is guarding your unit just left play, so you rescue your friend.
Great. So I could just rescue by capturing more. Great. Perfect. People also ask, can space capture ground?
Sometimes.
I don't know. Let's look at the next card, shall we?
Let's look at the next card. Perfect. Relentless Pursuit.
This is the yellow counterpart to the green event we just saw. This is also a 3-cost event that says my unit captures your unit. There are 2 important differences. Difference number 1, instead of caring about arena, this time it cares about cost. So my 4-cost ground unit can capture your 3-cost space unit. Also, there's that word bounty hunter on it. There's some bounty hunter typo support in this set.
Nice.
If you want to build a deck all about bounty hunters, or if you want your bounty hunters to be better, this is the set for you.
Right.
If your bounty hunter does a capture, they get a shield.
That's really nice.
Makes it harder for them to rescue.
Yeah. Very cool.
And that's a common, by the way. So in draft,
You're just capturing.
look for them bounty hunters in draft.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what I mean.
That's fair.
Bounty hunters might even be a small draft theme.
Just tiny bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little.
Just a bit. There's only a couple cards that do bounty hunters at low rarities, but they do exist.
Fair. All right. So let's move on. We've talked about capture a little bit. Let's talk. Well, actually, is the next card? Do we want to talk about that first?
No, that's a smuggle card.
Great. Let's talk about that
Let's
one.
talk about smuggle.
Wow. Yeah.
Smuggle appears in all the colors, of course, as a thing that you can do to alternately play your cards. However, because it is a mechanic that heavily relies on your resources, it mostly appears in the resource color, which is green. Green also both cares about what your resources are. It cares about how many resources you have. It has ways to get more resources. And smuggle costs tend to be more expensive than regular costs because you get card advantage out of it because you're not playing the card out of your hand. And green is the most equipped to pay a higher cost to do a thing.
It's also another keyword that can go on units. And green, I believe, has the highest count of available keywords to it of all the aspects.
In general, yes, and that's accentuated in this set.
We had a quick question more about capture. Can leaders be captured? I know some of them said non-leaders, so people just want to know.
That would involve leaders leaving play, which would cause all sorts of problems.
I believe, like the fail-safe is if a leader loses play, it just was defeated and goes back to the leader zone. But if anyone tries to do that, they're cheating, and you should call them on it.
or we messed up big time.
Yeah. Oh, before we move on, Garbage Rollers had a great question. How does Super Laser Blast interact if there are captured units?
Super Laser Blast defeats all units, and then you say, oh, look, the unit left play. He gets rescued, and the guy that gets rescued doesn't get blown up by the Super Laser Blast.
Perfect.
So don't put Super Laser Blast in your capture decks, I guess?
Yeah, don't. Gosh, yeah, that seems like a nightmare. Perfect. So,
can you ever capture your own card? I don't know.
Who's to say? Guess you'll have to wait.
Sounds like a thought.
Yeah.
Pretty implausible.
Yeah. So we've talked a little bit about Smuggle. Let's go ahead and show off some more cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I said it's green. Here's a look. It's a green card with Smuggle. It's a pirate battle tank. It's got Sentinel and it has Smuggle. You put it in your deck if you want to block and draft. And then if you don't need to block right away, but you want to block later, you can Smuggle it.
Makes sense.
Smuggle can be like a nice, easy way to know what to resource as well, where it's like, I already have another Sentinel. This card says I get value if I put it down.
Yeah.
Sometimes that can be hard to choose, and this makes it easier.
Yeah.
Smuggle is the most popular internal mechanic for that that you have seen so far for that reason, because the more casual players internally love having a signpost saying, yes, just resource this card, and everybody's happy.
That's nice. So, that's not the only one. We talked a little bit about yellow having access to Smuggle as well. And cunning, so
all the colors have access to Smuggle. They just do it in different ways. And so here's L337.
I love this card.
Everyone's favorite rescuer of captured people.
yeah, there you go.
L3 is awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, L3 is super good.
Yeah. Famous Ryan's favorite card, Crafty Smuggler.
Yep.
This is Crafty Smuggler with upside because of the extra aspect.
2 upsides.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can either do a rescue if you really need it, or more likely, you're just going to get your shield, and then you get to Smuggler if you don't need her.
Seems just great all around to me, honestly. Yeah.
It's a very versatile card.
Yeah.
If only there was a way to make her Smuggle cost cheaper. That's all I'm going to leave them with. That's all they get. That's all they get.
Cool.
Gets up and leave in the
Yeah, just take off.
Walk away.
So we had one more thing we want to talk about with Cunning, though, which is the Underworld theme.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So every set. Wait, is this true? Yes. Every set will have a few typal themes that run through the set.
Yeah.
In set 1, it was Rebels and Imperials. In set 2, there's a little bit more. The ones that stand out are Mandalorians, of course. We've seen Bo-Katan already. And they appear in blue-red. And also Underworld. Underworld, obviously, this is Shadows of the Galaxy. Of course, we're going to do an Underworld theme in the set.
Of course.
Underworld primarily lives in yellow. It lives in all the colors, but primarily in yellow.
Especially the rewards. Yeah.
Especially the rewards. And so we just saw L337. She's in Underworld. She's in yellow. They have a play card, a play from hand theme.
I would say more specifically like a self-bounce play from hand, playing the same card multiple times. Some people might know it as a blink deck.
Of like, I play my Underworld unit, I get my cool when played, and then I use this other card to put them back in my hand, and then I do it again, and then I get the effect again, and we get to keep doing these styles of play are very popular, and
they're fun,
and they're particularly yellow.
Yes,
because of how like
it's tricksy,
and
it's not
immediate
keeping value
and,
on the board.
Yeah, exactly. And so Underworld's the play pattern for Underworld decks is this like play my dude, bounce my dude, play my dude, try to trick, attack and heal it because I put it back in my hand, etc.
Which already kind of works back to set 1 with a Crafty Smuggler, where
Yes.
things like Shielded, which are also a thing in yellow,
Yep.
you can reactivate those when played triggers.
Yep.
Sorry.
Some other typal things that you'll see at smaller volumes are there's some Wookiee cards, there's some Bounty Hunter cards. Is that it? I feel like there's one more that I'm missing. I'll probably remember tomorrow.
Well, yeah, if we want, we could be nice and just show the next card we're going to show.
No, I
but
think
They
that's
didn't
it.
come here to.
This is Shadows of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
We're rough and tumble. We can't
We'll
just
be-
give away all this.
Yeah. We gave you so
Yeah.
much for free. You don't get this one for free anymore.
Yeah. So I know that this next one is Danny's favorite card.
Yes.
That we teased on a stream earlier
Danny
in
said,
April.
I think the card number. Like,
Yeah, I
months
think he
ago.
did. Yeah. So this is Danny's favorite card, and we're gonna tell you the name, and I guess we'll show it to you if you can spell it.
Yeah.
Is the game plan. So the card name, Tyler, would you like to
All right.
say it?
So the deal is, I'm going to say this, and then you're all going to go in the comments and you're going to type it out, and and until you get it right, you don't get to know what this card does.
Spelling specifically.
Spelling-
so we can
spelling
spell the name of this
specifically.
card.
Because I couldn't do it. So if you can spell the card title McClunky, you get to see what the card does.
McClunky. There you go.
McClunky.
Can you use it in a sentence?
McClunky!
All right. Let's see if we get anybody who nails it.
I like to
Danny
imagine
had
the
some
people
hearts
saying
there.
Chrysanthemum in chat are trying
Yeah,
to
are
spell
trying to spell
McClunky.
McClunky.
It's like,
Oh wait. Oh, I think there was one.
Whoa, did we
I
already
did
get
see
one?
someone
There
did
it
get
is.
it. Yeah. So. Oh, that doesn't count.
John.
John, get out of here.
Cheater!
So
No.
yeah, we did get somebody. So
They
let's
do
show
get
off
it. They do get it.
McClunky.
Here's McClunky. This is going to be, I expect this to be a backbone of Underworld decks. Sorry.
oh, there's a legit one. We got one.
Yeah, we got
We
one.
got a
It has-
non-John one.
It has already, internally, against me, been the backbone of some very powerful Underworld decks.
Oh gosh, that's cool.
Where you get to put your Underworld guy back in your hand and then defeat a guy, assuming they have small enough health.
Yeah.
You got a McClunkum.
You got a McClunkum.
Oh gosh. Yeah. So it's just a good card. What more can be said besides Danny? Let us know in the chat what you think about it. I saw you're in there. So
Oh, is Danny
we know
there?
we
Yeah,
know why
Danny's here.
we know why Danny likes it. It's because Danny's here for the memes.
that's true, and it's a one
And
cost
it's a one
card.
cost card.
Let's be
Yeah.
honest with ourselves here. Perfect. Well, that is all the cards that we brought for today. I think check my pockets. I think we're plumb out of cards.
I'll start falling from the
I-
ceiling on the.
I insisted on previewing Omega today in honor of today's episode, but I was promised that you would get at least one of the Bad Batch people by the end of the week.
Yeah, I mean,
So
might as well, right?
can't be today, but it will
finale.
be. It will be very soon.
Tyler, put your foot in the door of like, we can't spoil it, but I'm going to spoil it.
We can't spoil it, but I'm gonna say it
I'm
anyway.
gonna spoil it.
Listen. They all know when we say Bad Batch is in the set. They all know who 6
You're
of them
getting
are.
the Bad Batch. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like one hunter and nothing else.
Boy, that would be a twist. We'll give them one leader of the Bad Batch and no units.
All right. Well, before we spoil anything else for you, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you all for joining. Is there anything else you want to say without spoiling anything about the aspects in this set, or anything else that you want to tease out? Tyler's already teased so many things. MJ, what do you want to tease? What
Tyler's
do you
not allowed
want
to talk anymore.
Yeah, Tyler's done.
Oh, it's easier for me though when Tyler's talking. It gives me room to prepare.
Yo, that's fair.
Tyler, quick talk.
The theory of what mechanics go with which colors is always very exciting and fun to me. So when Xander said, we're going to do a stream about the aspects and the mechanics in the set, I clicked the do not let me not be on this stream button really a lot of times, because it was until he relented and said, yes, okay, fine.
Pretty much. And you two are perfect for it. So thank you for joining us, you two. Be sure to go check out our website. We should have the article live now, or it'll be live very soon, with all these cards, breaks down some of these things as well. So that way you don't have to sit here and watch us for 40 minutes if you're somebody who just wants to get in, get out, move on with your day. But thank you all for joining us. Thank you, John Leo, for this sweet jacket for the stream.
And thanks, John, for ruining McClunky.
And thank you, John, for spelling McClunky so everybody could get it right. Again, we appreciate you all joining us, and we'll see you all next week. Bye.